Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Hands on SAP Dev with me, DJ Q Macro, and it's another Friday, 17th of February. Good morning to Ulrich and to Helmut in Frankfurt and Braunschweig, respectively. And good morning to everybody. Romil, good morning to you in Munich as well. My goodness me. So, I'm looking forward to today. I'm feeling a little bit more, awake, and I felt a little bit chaotic last live stream, and I think that's because I had too much coffee. So in fact, luckily, I made some coffee this morning after my run, and I then started getting ready for the live stream and promptly forgot to drink the coffee. So, but I've just drunk it now, so maybe it'll kick in a half an hour's time. I've got another coffee here as well, so we'll see how it goes. Nico, good morning, and AP, good morning. Hello. Is it carnival time already? Is it carnival time? Hello. I remember I was working at Deutsche Telekom in Euskirchen. In the 90s, doing SAP massive R2 installation. In fact, I think it was at the time the largest R2 installation in the world. And I worked at the data center there, one of Deutsche Telekom's data centers in Euskirchen, and we used to throw up R2 systems and tear them down, and we build these sort of DevOps style systems even before DevOps was even a thing. We used to build these sort of scripts and mechanisms to manipulate whole R2 systems, complete R2 systems. Anyway, and there is where I first discovered Carnival, and somebody snipped off my tie, which I thought was a little bit harsh. But anyway, good morning to, good morning Yogananda, and good morning Matthias and Visas and Datia and Santiago and Leo. Guten Tag, no carnival in the north, luckily. Okay, good morning to Spain, Santiago and Leo, good morning as well. So, so what we're going to do is continue where we left off. It wasn't last Friday, but the Friday before, where we started looking at integrating this sort of API business partner API we found on the SAP API Business Hub, and we just at the end we started looking at. I think we got this error message, which was really nice. It was like it related to CDS persistence skip. So we'll have a look at that again. And also we started playing around with CDS env. And I remember John Murray saying that he uses CDS env and the different profiles quite a lot. Sandbox environment, QA environment, test environment, dev environment, production environment, and so on. So we'll play around with that as well, hopefully as well. But also, as the title, which I think my big head is covering, talks about, we're also going to have a little bit of a relationship with SAP Cloud SDK. Which is quite cool. I mean, if you don't know SAP Cloud SDK, there's a Node.js version, JavaScript version basically, and also a Java version. And it's a very well established and very accomplished SDK, software development kit, that allows you, or makes it a lot easier to find and manage connections to and consume resources from, SAP backends. And CAP uses SAP Cloud SDK sort of inside, which we'll see. Hopefully. Anyway, before we start, let me switch over to the main scene, and just to let you know, in Braunschweig, Helmut says we have show.js, the biggest carnival in North Germany, but I'm not one of those mad people. Good. Nice to hear it, Helmut. Duvel, is that second half of that word there? Is that related to duvel in Flemish? Is it Dutch, which means devil, as in whatever? I don't know. Good morning, Marian. Good morning, and coffee. Yes, in fact, I have my coffee, and also Wim last Friday very kindly gave me a little packet of mini Stroop waffles. Well, sort of medium-sized Stroop waffles. So I've got one of those as well. Anyway, developer news is out. Let me just share that. Let me go to there and share. Share that. And look at Josh there, looking very fetching in his very nice shirt and jacket and little what's it called? A little sort of handkerchief sticking out of his top pocket. He's at the SAP Hudson Yard. So check out the developer news and find out where Josh is and what he's doing. There is perfume, or no, what's the male equivalent of perfume? Aftershave? I don't know. There's perfume involved. There's scent involved. So yeah, check it out. Okay, you don't know where it's coming from. Okay, fine. That's fine. So we got the developer news, and also I think we've been tooting and tweeting about this quite a bit, but let me just share that with you as well. This is a nice blog post from Talila, and what's next for SAP Code Jam in 2023. Basically, the two stalwarts, Rich and Tom, as you can see there in the picture, they're coming over and doing a roadshow over here in, well, I'd like to say here in Europe, obviously, Brexit notwithstanding, here in Europe, and they're doing a roadshow, and they're covering lots of different cities, and doing a couple of different types of Code Jam, an ABAP Code Jam and a CAP Code Jam. So yeah, check it out. And also, really, really cool, this year is the 20th anniversary of the web-based SAP community. So that was created, I was involved in that actually, back in 2003, May 2003 it went live. I was working with O'Reilly and SAP, creating this thing, online. It's going to be an online community. I'd been involved in SAP communities before then, but they were of course mailing list based before, the web wasn't really that well used back then. But yeah, 20 years of the SAP community. Started out as the SAP Developer Network on the web, then became SAP Community Network and SAP Community. So yeah, congratulations to happy birthday us, all of us. And good morning to Arkan Alaf. Oh, here's another Carnival person. Well done, Christian. So yeah, check it out. I've shared the link there. Check out the SAP Code Jam Roadshow, March 2023. And there we go. So also, a couple of weeks ago we were saying, how many episodes of our live stream have we done? And I went through, it took me ages to find them all, because I hadn't really been sort of, maintaining a list. I had been maintaining a list a long time ago, but then I stopped maintaining that list. Anyway, I think today's is the 145th. Okay, so that's what this one down here. I've created a new playlist. It's in my own YouTube channel because, I wanted to do it for myself, really, but I'll share that with you anyway. Playlist there. That's the playlist. That's got all of the hands-on SAP Dev episodes that I've done, as in the live streams. Of course, there are other hands-on SAP Dev episodes, content episodes. They're over on the main SAP Devs channel as well. But these are all the ones that we've all been involved in and created ourselves. So from episode 0 all the way up to episode there's no numbers on the latter ones. Anyway, 145. So there we go. Anyway, where do we want to get started? We want to get started where we left off last time. And what I've done between the last episode and now is I've got this hands-on SAP Dev project. We've got, as you can see here, there's nothing in the app directory. We've got that stupid little schema that I created with an episodes entity in the hands-on SAP Dev namespace. We've got two properties, one of which is a key, ID, and title. And we've even got some data. This is, I'll eventually fill it up with proper data, rather than just sort of 5 records here of all the videos. Okay, so let's, hey Sai, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Sai, wherever you are, and welcome. We've got a schema, and we've also got this show CDS, and we did this as well. In fact, let me just click on that one there. Sometimes when I'm running with a dev container, which I have done, I'll explain that in a minute. Sometimes the SAP the CAP extension gets a bit confused and says, "Oh, I don't know what that is," but actually it does. Okay. Anyway, and we've got the show.cds, which is just we're exposing the episodes. And let me put that there again. Schema CDS. Let me put that just there, like that. So we're exposing this episodes entity here in this show service. But also what we did was a CDS import of this API business partner. Remember we did the open with and OData CSDL modeler. To have a look at that, let me just close that one and close that one. We'd imported the API definition. Oh, hello. I don't even know what that means. Let's close that. From the SAP API Business Hub. Make the home note temp. Oh, it's to do with the extension. I don't know. Let's just close that. No idea. Oh. Let's just make that even smaller then. No idea what's going on there. Terminal. Right. And we had a look at this. And we imported it. Okay, so now it's sitting inside this serve directory, you know, the service level layer, inside a special, as in it was, you know, created by convention when we did the CDS import. We've got the original EDMX file, which is the, you know, the OData metadata XML. But that's not important. What's important as far as the service is concerned is the CSN flavor of that. So the CDS schema notation. So it's this internal JavaScript based notation that represents the EDMX. Okay, so that's in an external directory. And what we also did was add a file here. Remember the naming convention over configuration. We talked about this before. Good morning, Ronnie. Good morning, Ronnie, and welcome to your second home. So Ronnie's a big friend and ally of the shows, and it's great to see you, Ronnie. Great to see you, and welcome. So Ronnie, if I think many of you will have some awesome hands-on SAP Dev stickers of different varieties, and Ronnie is the designer, creator, producer of these stickers. So thank you, Ronnie. And Ronnie, just for you, I have a Stormtrooper waffle. Anyway, so we've got a couple of records in there just for business partner, the business partner property and the business partner name. Those are two properties in the original business partner entity inside of the API business partner remote API. Okay, naming convention, namespace, entity name, put the things in there, and it works. Okay, so we got that. So that's all we've got. Okay, in our package.json, that's what it looks like. And the result of the CDS import also added this stanza here, or let me more specifically, added this thing here. So basically it says this, this API business partner thing, service is required. Okay, so if we run this, let's do that. Let me move into hands-on SAP Dev and CDS Watch. Let's do CDS Watch first. Just remind ourselves of what happens. Come on. So let's just remind ourselves. Start easy, start slow. Slow down, DJ. Don't drink too much coffee. We can see lots of different things. So let's just sort of, start easy and say, well, okay, yeah, I've found all these model definitions. We've got the schema CDS in the DB layer. We've got the show CDS in the service layer, and also in the service layer in the external directory, subdirectory, we've got the API business partner definition as well, right? We also remember this with this .cds services. It's like a design time, just for development purposes file, okay, that basically the CAP server maintains any running, shortly. It will mock the services that are required as long as they don't have external bindings, okay? Now, what does external binding mean? Basically, it means a pointer to something that's somewhere else, like a URL to another place, okay? That will become important. Good morning, good morning. So, good morning, Henry. So, is there a... Oh, it stopped. Oh, my goodness me. Hold on. What's going on? Excellent connection. Ooh. Are we back? Okay. Sorry, didn't realise. What's going on? Same here. Now it looks to be back. Same here. Oh, my goodness. Client disconnect, chat disconnected. Oh, I think, okay. Ooh, I'm not sure what's happened there, but anyway, okay, we'll carry on. I'm not sure whether you caught all of that, but okay, I'm going to carry on, assuming that you might have seen some of this. But basically, what I was just saying was that when we do CDS watch, this is really important. It will mock services that are in here that don't have any explicit external bindings, as in URLs. So it'll mock that. That's why when we run CDS watch, that's why. Refreshing it works. Thank you, Vipul. Thank you for letting me know, everybody. Sorry about that. Don't know what happened there. That's why it will mock API Business Partner, and that's also why if we create a new Chrome tool. Oh, we want that one there. Put that one there. There we go. If we now go to localhost 4004, we can see that not only do we have the show service, but we also have this API Business Partner service that's mocked. And we can have a look at the business partner. We can see the data there. There's DJ, and the next one is Leo from the CSV. But also we can see the episodes that we had there, and also the participants. So the participants is just a projection pointing to the business partner entity. Okay. They can be great fun. They can be great fun even when it goes all completely horribly wrong. Anyway, okay, so what do we want to do now? Well, what we want to do is play around with that mocking a little bit. So let's do that. So I think I mentioned this very briefly, and we tried this very briefly last time. If we say CDS mock, okay, and let's just bring this CDS services. Now we've stopped CDS watch. There's nothing in here. There's nothing that's being provided, okay? So if I say CDS mock API Business Partner, what's going to happen? Something starts up. A CDS server service starts up. It will say, oh, okay, you've asked me to mock this, so I will mock this, okay? And that's all it does. But what it does as well is, and if you look at the help, it'll tell you why it does this. It does a dash dash. This is like a syntactic sugar for CDS serve, service name, with mocks, and then dash dash port 0, which means just pick a random port, okay? And the random port that's been picked is 38677. So if I command click on there, we get, and that of course is not going to return anything, right? Because that's not 4004, it's not being listened on now. So the only thing that a CAP server is serving at the moment is this localhost 38677, and it's just mocking the API Business Partner. So that you can think of that as a remote service now, okay? Because it's a separate service. Now, we can also see that the CDS mock has added, as we'd expect, an entry in CDS provides in CDS services.json. Okay, cool. The one interesting thing as well is that you can see there that it's 38677. Cool. Now, let's start a new terminal here. There we go. There's the mocking terminal, a CDS mock. Now, if we say cd hands-on SAP dev CDS watch, what's going to happen? Let's just move that over here for a second. And we can see that CDS watch connects as normal, starts serving show, which of course you'd expect it to, but does not also mock API Business Partner, because it knows the API Business Partner is already in there provided, and it has external bindings there. It's localhost 38677, the credentials URL, okay? So there's no point, it doesn't need to mock that. Now, the really interesting thing, let me open up another window here. In fact, let me just move that there. So, okay, yeah, let's put that one. I always think that one should sort of belong down there. There's our mocked API Business Partner. Good morning, Javier. Good morning. SAP BT rocks, and you know it. Oh, yes, you do. And up here, we'll have localhost 4004. So localhost 4004, all we've got here from a service endpoint perspective is our show service. Now, if we go here, we can have a look at a business partner, and that, because that's being mocked, there's the response. There we can see the response or the request coming in. Oh, get API Business Partner, a business partner. We can see there's DJ and there's Leo, for example, there. Where is he? Leo there. There's Leo behind my head, probably. Anyway, Okay, that's fine. Now, what we came across last time was if we hit episodes, fine, we get the episodes entity within the show service. But if we hit participants, this is what happened. We got an error. Let me just make that full screen for a second. That error is entity show.participants is annotated with @cds persistent skip and cannot be served generically. Okay, let's make that normal size again, and let's just go back. Now, what that means basically is, well, I'm not mocking this. Okay, I'm not mocking this in process, and therefore I can't sort of make a reasonable serving of whatever you're asking for. It's somewhere else. And why also is it annotated with CDS persistent skip? Because that's actually, it's the truth. If we look at API Business Partner CSN, all of the entities here are annotated with CDS persistent skip, because this is a remote service, an external service that we've brought in. Okay, so why would you have it local? I mean, there are reasons, further down the line, but as far as the situation we've got, it's not a local service, it's a remote service. So don't have persistence locally, skip the persistence. But the key sort of part of the error message for us, which I think we dwelt on a little bit last time, is and cannot be served generically. Cap server, cannot make a reasonable guess safely as to what you might want. So you, dear developer, have got to do something that's not generic. And that's where we got to. So what we'll do is we'll do something that's not generic. So I think some of us are already sort of familiar with this beautiful sort of symbiotic relationship between CDS. Good morning, Daniel. We're very well, thank you, and thank you for joining. Between CDS and JavaScript, Node.js JavaScript in this case. So what we'll do is we'll add a file here, new file, show.js. Okay, and we will provide some handler so that when a request comes in for the participants, when a read event is, bubbled up to the top, is raised for the participants entity, we'll do something, right? So first of all, let's start out with module.exports. This is the standard stuff here. It's an asynchronous function that we want to define. Okay. So far, so good, right? So now we want to be able to refer to the actual SAP CDS runtime package. Require. In fact, that's really annoying me down there. Let's just Control C that for a second, so it doesn't keep restarting, because I've got an auto save every few seconds or whatever. Require SAP CDS. Ooh. And then we'll also have a connection object. So business partner equals await. We can do await because we're in an async function definition. Await CDS connect to. Now, connect to API Business Partner. Okay. Now, what does that mean? That basically means when the CAP server starts up, this will run. Okay. Because these two lines 3 and 4 are sort of outside of any particular event handler function, right? These two things will run. So we'll load CDS and we use CDS, the connect to say connect to API Business Partner. Go and have a look in the environment, and the only place that we have right now in the environment defined is in the package.json. We can also add to that environment from the CDS env and the .env file, which we looked at last time, right? We'll do that maybe if we have time. But now we've got an object, like a connection object called bupa, right? And we'll use that now. So if we say this.on read, on the read event for participants, because it's that's the projection that we're projecting onto the remote entity. All we're interested in the callback that is made is the request object, as in the HTTP request that's made on the participants, as in the OData read operation or query operation. What we'll do is we'll say here, let's have a log, console.log Ooh, let's have a little hand. Let's have a little hand. There we go. Making request, passing request, delegate, passing request to remote system. Okay, and then we'll use as the return value to this event handling. We'll use the bupa object. Okay, this connection object, and we'll say run. And what we'll run is the query that we got originally in the thing that says, oh, handle this request, right? The request.query. Okay, so that is all we need to do. Let's get rid of those lines there. There we go. Okay, so what we've done is we've specified here a non-generic, as in a developer specific. I want you to do this when a read or a query OData operation comes in for the participant's entity. I want you to do this. And the this is to use a connection object that we've created in line 4 here to go and take the query from the incoming request that raised this, that caused this event to happen, and pass it to the remote system with bupa.run. Okay. Now, if we try CDS watch again, don't forget, this is our remote system here. This is what we're doing. Let me just show you that. CDS mock clear. Add one smaller, I think. There we go. Is that okay? Let me know if that's still okay in terms of font size. CDS mock API Business Partner. So this, we're now sort of mocking our remote server. In fact, port. Oh no, let's just get it another. Yeah, let's do it on the same port, so I don't have to change that. Port 38677. That's just me being lazy. Okay, let's start mocking that again. So this is the mocked API Business Partner font. Thank you, Helmut. Thank you, Helmut. So we can just refresh that. That's still working. There's our service. There's our mocked service. And over here, we've got our CDS watch, which is not mocking the API Business Partner because it's already being mocked, as in it knows because it's, oh, there it is, it's in there, thank you very much, right? But now we get this extra magic message, connect to API Business Partner. It's an OData service. That's this thing there. That OData there is from kind OData, right? And the URL, the extra parameters, it sort of sticks there, right? That didn't happen before, right? That didn't happen. And this is a direct result of, where is it? There. That, okay? That's why we get this message now, because this is run when the server starts up, right? Now, what's going to happen when we go back? Let's refresh. We go back there, refresh that. Okay, fine. We've got the service show. Episodes, yeah, nothing under my sleeve. The services show there. Now, let's move that one across there. That's better. If we go to participants, well, in fact, let's go here. Business partner, that's fine. There's API Business Partner. That's all fine there. So the remote service is responding correctly and with the 2 records, Leo and DJ, right? Participants. Now we are doing something that's not generic. So we shouldn't get this CDS persistence skip cannot serve generically, right? So let's have a look. Participants. But, right? We don't get that error, but we get a different error. Let's have a look at it. Right? Error during request to remote service. Cannot find module. What the heck? Cannot find module at SAP Cloud SDK HTTP client. So what's happening? Let's go back again. Let's put that back to 0 as a standard thing here. And we get here also, it's quite cool, we get a ton of errors. Let's go to the top here. Blah, 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 blah. There's our connect using bindings. There's our special connect to API Business Partner OData directly from this line 4 here, right? Start serving show, get show episodes. That worked fine. Get show participants. And then we get this one. We got there, right? Then we get the result of line 7, console log passing request to remote system. And then we get Danger Will Robinson, error, error, error. Cannot find module SAP Cloud SDK HTTP client. Now, why is that? What is that? What's going on? Well, as the title of the live stream episode sort of intimates, the SAP Cloud SDK is used internally by CAP to connect to and make calls to remote systems. Specifically in this case, it's being used to make, or CAP wants to use it to make a connection and an actual call to the API Business Partner service, wherever that is. At the moment, we're just mocking it, but it's a mocked HTTP-based OData service. It's a real OData service, right? It just happens to be mocked by our little CAP, a second CAP process here, right? Now, notice we didn't get this error when we did this await CDS connect. So that's just like a setup, like, oh, I'm ready, I've got the, etc., etc. But when we want to make an actual call, it really needs to sort of bring into reality that connection, however that connection is, that destination. So the CDS, the SAP Cloud SDK is going to look at the destination definition. Here it's just a set of env object properties, a URL, for example, that's all it needs to connect. But of course, we might want to store this, this is just for development purposes, we might want to store, so Christian says, usual comment of all developers, that's quite cool, we get a ton of errors. Exactly. Errors are my favorite thing because you learn so much, right? You understand how things work when you get errors, and then you solve one error, you get the next error, then you understand the steps and what's going on sort of inside things. So I do like errors a lot. Maybe not all the time, but anyway, I like them a lot. So, the SAP Cloud SDK, specifically, as it says here, the HTTP client package within that is being used to determine the details of the destination, and in this case, it's just really the URL, and it also uses it to make the call, to proxy the call, and make an OData query operation, in this case, to the remote system. So let's give it what it wants. Okay, let's keep that there. Let's move that across here. Let's clear the screen, npm, but let's have a look in the, where are we? Package.json. All we've got at the moment for dependencies is the SAP CDS, the runtime package, and Express, obviously the HTTP server. But it says here, what's it say? Minimalist web framework. I like it. And of course, for dev, we want to use SQLite. But npm add or install, npm install at SAP Cloud SDK HTTP client. Let's give it what it's asking for. Let's see what happens. And while that's installing, a little bit of shroot waffle. So I take it that, let me just check. Am I still online? Yes, okay, that's good. No idea what happened there before. But anyway. Okay, so it's installed. Somebody say something in the chat so I know you're still there. Okay, I know Christian's just said something, but somebody say something else as well, because it's fun. So, what we can see that it's installed. In fact, npm list depth equals 0. We've got now SAP Cloud SDK HTTP client, SAP CDS, Express, and SQLite. Interestingly, if we, I'm so used to using the VI readline mode in my normal terminal. I'll use that. There we go. There we go. Depth equals 1. We can see here that with the SAP Cloud SDK HTTP client, we have the connectivity package and a util package, and also Axios. Okay, Axios is like a web client, a very, very well established and feature-full HTTP client. Okay, HTTP client library. So we can sort of get an idea of what's going on, what we're getting when we install the SAP Cloud SDK HTTP client package. We get connectivity stuff. Remember, this makes me think of, and rightly so, the connectivity service on SAP BTP. Something. Thank you, Daniel. Something. And Nico. Something. Excellent. I love the wonderful pedantic and specific and deliberate nature of you all here. I'm very proud of you. I probably do this exactly the same. So we've got that. So it's installed. Now let's just run CDS. Where are we? CDS watch again, and see if there's any difference here. There shouldn't be. Okay, we get the normal connect to API Business Partner, type OData, right? Again, from the package JSON. Sorry, not from the package JSON, from the CDS services there. Notice the difference between OData in CDS services and OData v2, which is in the package JSON. Tell me why you think there's a difference there and what's going on. Let me know in the chat what you think of that. Okay. So let's go back here, refresh, yep, that's all fine. That's still all fine there. Nothing's happened here, nothing's changed here. Now if we go and hit participants, what do you think is going to happen? Let's try. Da, da, da. It works because the SAP Cloud SDK is doing the needful for us on CAP's behalf. CAP's using SAP Cloud SDK to figure out through the destination definition, in this case, like I've said before, in this case, it's just a URL. There it is there, right? How do I get to this API Business Partner remote service? Oh, this URL, that's all I need. And it will make the call. It will make the OData operation via HTTP, of course. And we can even see what's going on. In fact, you can see there's the results there. That's worked. If we have make this bigger, so we can just stare at the wonderful thing here, right? So we can see it says down here, passing request to remote system. So that's it. That's this thing from here, passing request to remote system, and then the remote system. We get, that our CDS mock API Business Partner process suddenly goes, oh, I've got a request that's come in. Where's it coming from? It's coming from the SAP Cloud SDK that's sort of, operating within and on behalf of all the internal stuff within the CAP server that's CDS watch over here on 4004. And we can see here, read. So it does a read operation, okay? And I mean, technically it's a query operation, isn't it? In OData operation terms. But anyway, who's arguing? It's a read operation as far as whatever, right? Let's not get into that. So we have, give me the entity set a business partner, and there's some OData system query options. Select all the fields, right? Give me the values for all the fields, all the properties. Also, it passes an order by. Quite cool. Order by, and I guess it will default by order by the key property, the main key property, and give me 1,000. Okay, right. So those are probably defaults that you can probably modify if you wanted to. But that's what it's doing. That's the result of that, based upon the incoming request. Okay. Now, does that make sense? Does that make sense? If we were to, for example, let's go back here, and if we were to, let's put $top equals 1 and $select equals, just have the business partner name, for example. There we go. Top equals 1. Just give me the first one and give me just from that, from each of the entities in the entity set results. Just give me the business partner name property. Of course, it will also give you the key properties, right? And we can see here, the result of that call was a completely different and a lot smaller and less general. I don't want to say the word generic because that'll confuse us. Cool. So get API. Let me just put some lines there so you can see it above my head. Get API Business Partner, a business partner, select business partner name and business partner. It will add that for us. Order by business partner, top equals 1. Okay, so that sort of, transmogrified my original request as it's gone through to the remote system. Amazing, amazing. Now, do we get that? Are there any questions? Because now I think 842. Can we now start to use CDS env to define our remote connection, not to a mock server. Stop mocking this, right? In fact, what's going to happen, we've stopped mocking this now. This mock server is no more. And therefore also CDS services should just have the thing that's being served by this one over here, right? Let's move that crosshair again. Let's run it. Let's see what happens. There we go. That's another error. A different error again. And it's an error we understand. I'm trying to access this remote service, but I get a connection refused, right? You know, connection refused on localhost port 38677, which was this one, which of course is not responding either. Oh look, error connection refused. Perfect. We get why that's happening, right? We get that why that's happening. So are there any questions so far? I'm going to have a bit of coffee and a bite of the stroopwafel to let you think about any questions. But did you also think about the OData versus OData v2 kind thing? Let me know. You know, sometimes, I'm not doing it now, sometimes I think there shouldn't be any dead air during the live stream. You know, I should be talking all the time, which is not a problem for me, as you know. But, you know, maybe we should slow down a bit. Am I going too fast? Am I going too crazily? Is it okay? Let me know. You've got to remember as well, all I'm doing is talking to my screen and to a small camera there, and I've got no, apart from the wonderful chat, you know, I have no idea whether this is still live, whether it's coming across, what. So let me know. So visas, off topic. I'm learning a fancy cap stuff while debugging a WHT program. Is that warehouse something or on a legacy SAP NetWeaver ABAP component 7.0? A nice contrast there, visas. I'm sure you are appreciating, you know, the beauty of both ends of the spectrum. Legacy SAP NetWeaver ABAP component 7.01. 7.01 still feels a bit modern to me, but anyway, what do I know? So we know from the API Business Partner overview, if we have a look at the, what's it called, configuration details, we know the sandbox. That's the sandbox, and that's what we want to connect to. Now, we did play around with this. We don't need that one anymore. Let's get rid of that one so we can have a nice thing there. And we did start creating a .env file. Remember, like on the end of the previous thing. So let's do that now. In fact, let's create it. Where are we? Hands on SAP Dev, new file. It just seems so weird to create files in a weird Explorer. Anyway, now what we did was, and I did it mistakenly right at the end. I said requires. Remember, if we see cds.env, okay, do that. Cds.env, and the cds.env requires.api business partner. Sorry, cds.env. Sorry, get requires.api business partner. We get. Should I make that? Oh, that font's okay. We get. Don't need that anymore. Let's close that. All the details that are available from the sort of the conglomerated environment from the package.json and anything in .env. There's nothing in .env at the moment. So we can now add cds requires .api business partner. Now we did, yeah, let's do this as well. We did play around with sandbox. Remember we played around with these different profiles, sandbox dot credentials. Remember when we were in CDS services. In fact, let me do that now. CDS watch. What we want to do is we want to basically have, come on, drum roll. We want this, credentials and URL, okay? We want that. So we want here, where is it? There, don't need that anymore. Clear that, close that, close, credentials dot URL equals, okay? And then we'll put in the sandbox URL. Okay, so now that's saved. We can say CDS, let's just run that again. CDS.env get requires a, let's make that one bigger, I think. One bigger, there we go. CDS.env get requires API Business Partner. Remember, we have to specify dash profile and then a sandbox to get profile parameter specific settings, okay? Because this is only, let's get rid of that. there. This is only within the sandbox profile. So now we have all the data we have that's not profile specific, i.e. the model information, the kind, the fact that it's external, and that's from package.json. That's from here. We get the kind and we get the model for the API Business Partner. But added on top, squished together with that, we also, for the sandbox profile, we get a credentials.url information. Okay, so now if we say, we can even do this, right? CDS ls, we get that in a sort of, that what's it called, a properties format. So let's try that. Let's try that, and yes, CDS watch profile sandbox. Let's see what happens. Okay, interesting. We did CDS watch before. In fact, let's do that. Let's do that together. Clear. CDS watch with no profile. So we're not going to pick up this credential.url. So what happens now is ... Not only do we get the show service served, but we also have the API Business Partner service mocked because, remember that help text? Because the with mocks says it will mock something as long as it doesn't have external bindings, as long as it doesn't have a URL effectively or anything in that sort of credentials area. So when we run CDS watch without -- profile sandbox, we don't get the sandbox configuration, and therefore there's no credentials URL, and therefore that means that it doesn't have an external binding, and therefore it gets mocked. However, if we CDS watch and then specifically add the sandbox profile, it means we get the conglomerate. Is that the right word? I'm just going to use that word, conglomeration. The squished together of what's in package.json and also what's in env in this sandbox record here. I mean, it picks up anything in env anyway, but the fact that, it's picking up the sandbox thing because we've specified sandbox there, right? Now what happens is it does not mock the API Business Partner service because there are external bindings available. And look, it shows us there, right? Connect, and it also says connect to API Business Partner OData v2. Remember last time when we ran CDS mock API Business Partner, it said when we were running in a separate process, the CDS watch said connect to API Business Partner OData. Again, I'm gonna ask the question again because I think it's a really cool, interesting question. The answer is really interesting. Why is it now saying OData v2? Why, or rather before, why before when we were running, when we were mocking the API Business Partner using the CAP service in a separate process, why did it say OData? Think about it. And we get the information. So now let's go back here, localhost. Of course, we don't see the API Business Partner service endpoint because it's not being mocked. Episodes works as normal. Now, participants, what's going to happen? We get the passing request to remote system. Bang! Another error. Christian, I'm sure you're as pleased as I am. Another different error. Perfect. What is that error? 401, unauthorized. And it tells us there, it's plain as day, plain as the nose on your face. Failed to resolve API key variable request.header.api key. Remember, the sandbox, in order to access it, we need the API key. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to log in first of all, because you need to log in to get your API key. In fact, I've got my API key. I'll just get it here. Now, what I'll do is, before I add it, I'll go here. Let's make that full screen. All we need to do is credentials.header. Stop that a minute. Let's see what else we've got here. We can even see the call that was trying to be made there, right? What else have we got here? Okay, no, there's nothing more interesting than that. We just say, we're trying to make a call, and we get this thing here, right? So let's add the header information, and remember that it's within the credentials, so we can say header. Header. What's going on with my keyboard? Headers.api key. Okay, remember we said this is like not case sensitive, but let's do that for now. API key, and then we'll put the API key in. Okay, so in fact, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. CDS watch profile sandbox. We got a 401 last time, which basically means, you need to provide authentication. Let's try that. Refresh. Okay, we get 401 as well. Oh, okay, we got 401, but we get an invalid API key. Before we got, what did we get? Did we get a different message last time? Yeah, failed to resolve API key, right? The first time, we got 401 saying there's no API key. Now we're getting a 401 saying there's an API key, but it's not valid. Okay. Arguably, might you think that status code should be a 403? You've provided authentication, but it's not good. Anyway, another pedant's corner discussion. So what I'll do is I'll go into secret mode. In fact, let me get ready. I'll go into secret mode, show API key. Oh, also, yeah, show API key. Show API key, and put it in, and then close that end file so you can't see my API key. All right, so secret mode, and okay, so now I'm in secret mode. Show API key, copy a key and close. Go across to here, and add it there. Save that. Close that file. Go back to the main. There we go. Okay, so now I've got, instead of that for the API key value, I've got the API key that I've got from hitting show API key. Let's run CDS watch profile sandbox again. Come on. Hello. Hello. By the way, while we're doing that, let's have what's in there now. CDS services. Remember, again, we don't get the API business partner in here because it's not being provided by the CAP server, right? It's remote. And look, now, I don't think we even looked at this in the previous run, but we get the connect to API business partner, OData v2. Not only do we get the URL, but also we get anything else that's in the credentials. And this is this collection of information that's basically a destination. If you've maintained a destination on SAP BTP, for example, right? It's a collection of things like this. This is a destination, like an object with things in it that point to somewhere, optionally with credentials and other things. So it now says, okay, I'm ready to make a call, and I've got this information here. So if we refresh this now, passing request remote system, will it work? There we go. Oh, why is that not formatted? Let's just refresh that again. There we go. We get the information. I've no idea why it's not formatted, but anyway, we get the data, and this data. There we go. Oh, okay, because it's so massive that my browser is struggling to format it with the JSON prettifier thing. So there we go. We get, and now this information is not DJ and Leo. This is customer business partner 11. Business partner name is cust15. Really, really useful data there. Thank you very much, whoever that was that put that in there. Business partner name, Expo Technologies. That's a bit more exciting. Now, final thing. Do we get that? Do we get what's happened? So now we're not mocking it in a separate CAP process. We're not mocking it in process, right? We're really connecting to the remote server, the remote service that's the sandbox service from the SAP API Business Hub. We're credentializing that connection through adding the API key header, right, in that credentials information, in that destination definition that the SAP Cloud SDK is using for us to do the needful and make the call. Now, final thing, I suddenly had an idea. Oh yes, we've got our so we could say here. Let me go and edit. Oh, can I do it at the let's just. I want to append a line. Rather than show you what's in .env, which has got my API key in it, I'm going to append a line, debug equals remote. There. So by adding an environment variable, which you can also add in .env, hopefully, when we run that again, okay, it's going to pick up everything that it finds in package.json and everything it finds on .env and squish them all together, and also hopefully, I don't know, pick up this debug equals remote environment variable setting. Now when we run this OData request that goes to our CAP service that will be proxied, delegated, reverse proxied rather, and delegated to the sandbox system, refresh, we also get, oh, invalid API. Oh, damn. You know what I think I've done? I think I've actually didn't put a new line. So let me go to secret again. Let me go and edit that. Let me edit the .env. Where is it? .env there. Yes, I put the debug thing. I didn't put a new line when I added my API key. There we go. So let's save that. There we go. Let's go back to main. There. Let's close that. Let's try that again. Okay. What I've done was the debug equals remote was at the end of my API key value. I didn't press enter when I put the API key in. Anyway, let's refresh this now. Let's see what happens. Passing request remote system. Now, because we're not really in charge of the remote system, we can't see the incoming request. But now with debug equals remote, we can at least see the outgoing request that's being made on our behalf. You and your secrets, case dealer. Good comments, good comment. We can see the request that was made. Oh, bad request, invalid API key. What? Oh, let me run that again. Try it again. Come on. Did I mess the IP? Maybe I messed the API key up. Oh, there we go. That's perfect. Look, we don't get an error. Again, of course, I need to stop the CAP service and start it again to pick up a new env, right? Passing request to remote system. This is the request that was made to the remote system. It's a $batch request. It's batched it up. There's the headers, and we get the get thing there. So there we go. Does that make sense? It's 9 o'clock already. It's an hour. But hopefully we understand how the SAP Cloud SDK, and specifically how the HTTP client package within the SAP Cloud SDK family of packages, how that all fits together, how it's used by CAP, mocking services, not mocking services, environments squishing together from package.json and .env. There we go. So have a great Friday, have a great weekend, and everything. Again, I'm doing another SAP Code Jam in Heilbronn on the BTP CLI APIs next week, so no live stream next week again. But yeah, I'll see you probably in 2 weeks' time. Okay, bye for now.